Good morning, my dear friends. Every day when we wake up, our minds are like a garden. But imagine if weeds of anger, worry, jealousy, and fear sprout before the sun even rises. They choke the flowers of happiness, peace, and clarity. Today, I want to share with you a simple but profound truth. The first few minutes of your morning decide the quality of your whole day. If you don't clear your mind of toxic thoughts, they quietly steal your energy, your joy, and even your dreams. But the good news, you can take control right now, starting this very morning. Let me guide you on how to sweep away the dust of negativity and plant seeds of clarity, calm, and positivity every single day. My dear friends, have you ever noticed that the first few moments after you wake up are like stepping into a blank room? The walls are empty, the floor is clean, and the air is still. But very quickly, the first thoughts that come to your mind begin to color that room. They can make it bright and full of light, or dark and heavy with shadows. And this is exactly why recognizing your morning mindset is so important. Because what you allow into your mind first thing in the morning will silently dictate the way you experience every hour, every interaction, and every challenge that comes your way. Imagine waking up and immediately thinking about all the things that went wrong yesterday, your mistakes, your regrets, the harsh words spoken, or the tasks you didn't complete. These thoughts are like tiny seeds of worry that, once planted in your morning mind, grow into a tangled forest of stress and anxiety. Before you even brush your teeth, drink your coffee, or step into the world, your mind is already carrying a heavy load. And we all know how heavy a day feels when your mind is burdened from the very beginning. But here's the beauty of it. If you can pause, even for a single moment, and simply notice the state of your mind as you wake up, you gain the power to choose. You see, your mind is like a river. In the morning, the water is calm, the surface is still, and it's clear enough to see the bottom. But if you toss in stones of worry, fear, or resentment right away, the water becomes murky, turbulent, and unclear. The key is to gently observe your thoughts as they appear, like watching clouds float across the sky, without immediately reacting to them. Recognizing that you are thinking rather than being overwhelmed by your thoughts is the first step toward clarity. And here's something profound. Your morning mindset is not just about avoiding negativity. It's also about consciously choosing what you want to nourish in your mind. Do you want calm, joy, and focus, or do you want fear, doubt, and distraction? The moment you wake up, you have a choice. You can choose to water the flowers of hope and gratitude, or let the weeds of toxic thoughts take over. So, my friends, I invite you to wake up each morning not as a passive passenger in the flow of your thoughts, but as a gardener tending to a beautiful garden. Notice what grows in the first hour of your day. Recognize the weeds, recognize the flowers, and make the conscious decision to cultivate peace, clarity, and positivity before the world even knocks on your door. Because the mind you feed in the morning becomes the day you live, the energy you radiate, and the life you create. Toxic thoughts are like silent invaders. They don't announce themselves, they don't knock on your door, yet somehow they find a way to enter your mind when you're most vulnerable. Early in the morning, late at night, or in moments of stress. And the danger is not just in their presence, but in how quietly they take root. A thought of anger about something someone said yesterday, a pang of jealousy when you compare yourself to others, or a tiny whisper of self-doubt. They may seem small, even harmless at first, but left unchecked, they grow. They grow into tangled roots that wrap around your confidence, your peace, and your joy, slowly strangling the light that was always meant to shine inside you. Think of it like a garden. If weeds are allowed to grow unchecked, they don't just occupy empty spaces. They suffocate the flowers, rob the soil of nutrients, and spread their seeds everywhere. Similarly, toxic thoughts spread quickly if you let them linger. And most of the time, we don't even notice. We think, oh, it's just a passing thought, it's nothing serious. But in reality, these thoughts quietly influence our moods, our reactions, and even the way we treat others. By the time the day is halfway through, the mind that started fresh in the morning can feel heavy, overcast, and cluttered, simply because a few seeds of negativity were allowed to grow unchecked. The good news, however, is that just as weeds can be uprooted, toxic thoughts can be removed. The moment you notice them is the moment you gain control. Awareness is the first step. When you recognize a thought like, I am not good enough, or that person hurt me, pause, observe it. Don't try to push it away aggressively, and don't feed it. Simply see it for what it is, a visitor, not a permanent resident. And then gently redirect your mind to something constructive, something nurturing. Replace it with gratitude, kindness, or purpose. The process is not about perfection. It's about practice, patience, and persistence. Just like a gardener must regularly check the garden for weeds, we must regularly check our minds for toxic thoughts. And each time we remove one, even a small one, we create space for clarity, calm, and happiness to flourish. Because ultimately, the mind is a reflection of the inner life we choose to cultivate. When we allow toxicity to settle, life becomes stressful and chaotic. When we remove it, life becomes peaceful and purposeful. So, my friends, remember this: the battle for your happiness is not outside in the world, it is inside your mind. Toxic thoughts are not your enemies. They are signals, reminders that you need to be conscious, attentive, and caring toward your inner self. When you start uprooting these thoughts one by one and planting seeds of positivity in their place, you will find that life becomes lighter, brighter, and infinitely more beautiful. Every thought you remove is a step toward freedom, and every positive thought you nurture is a step toward the life you truly deserve. The morning ritual is not just a routine, it is a sacred moment, a bridge between the night that has passed and the day that is yet to come. So often we wake up and immediately rush into action, checking messages, scrolling through social media, jumping into work, without ever pausing to prepare our most important tool for the day, our mind. But the truth is, even 5 to 10 minutes of conscious practice can completely change the trajectory of your entire day. It's in these small intentional moments that you decide whether your mind will be a garden of peace or a jungle of chaos. Think about it like this: if you start the morning without intention, you are essentially giving the world free access to your mind. Every message, every news headline, every sound and distraction flows in, and your thoughts react to them reflexively. But if you create a morning ritual, you reclaim ownership of your mind before the outside world can influence it. You are saying, I will start my day on my own terms. I will decide what enters my mind and what I allow to grow there. And this simple act of choice has enormous power. A morning ritual can take many forms, and it doesn't have to be complicated. Meditation is a beautiful way to gently sweep away the dust of yesterday and begin with a clear, calm mind. Even a few minutes of mindful breathing, focusing on the inhale and exhale, can quiet the chatter that constantly pulls us in 100 directions. Journaling is another powerful tool. It allows you to pour out worries, fears, and negative thoughts onto paper, freeing your mind to focus on creativity, solutions, and positivity. Some choose to read something inspiring, listen to uplifting music, or even spend a few moments in prayer or reflection. Whatever the practice, the key is consistency. Over time, these small acts accumulate, creating a protective shield of clarity and calm that carries you throughout the day. And here's the subtle magic. A morning ritual is not about escaping reality, it is about preparing for it. It is the armor you wear before stepping into the battlefield of life. When the world inevitably challenges you, when unexpected problems arise, and when other people's negativity brushes against you, your mind is already fortified. You have already chosen peace, focus, and resilience. You are no longer reacting blindly, you're responding intentionally. Most important, lie. A morning ritual teaches you the sacred lesson of self-respect. It is a declaration to yourself that you matter, that your mind matters, and that the way you start your day is worth honoring. In a world where everyone seems to demand your attention, where distractions are constant and the noise is unending, taking this small, deliberate time for yourself is revolutionary. It says, I will not allow my day to be hijacked by chaos. I will decide the quality of my own experience. So, My friends, remember this: the first minutes of your morning are precious. How you begin determines not just the hours that follow, but the quality of your thoughts, your emotions, and ultimately your life. A simple ritual, a few minutes of meditation, journaling, or reflection can remove the fog, restore clarity, and empower you to face the day with energy, focus, and joy. It is not just a habit, it is a gift you give to yourself every single morning. And it is the foundation of a life lived consciously, peacefully, and purposefully. Gratitude is one of the simplest yet most powerful tools we have to clear our minds and lift our spirits, especially in the morning. Think about it. When you wake up, your mind is like a blank canvas. You have the choice to paint it with colors of joy, hope, and positivity, or with shades of worry, fear, and frustration. Gratitude is the brush that allows you to create a masterpiece, no matter what challenges yesterday may have brought. It is not just a feeling, it is a conscious practice, a way of seeing the world that shifts your focus from what is lacking to what is abundant in your life. Many of us wake up and immediately think about what we need to do, what we don't have, or what went wrong. Our minds begin to race with complaints and comparisons, silently sowing seeds of stress and dissatisfaction. But when we start our morning by intentionally alleging even the smallest blessings, a profound transformation occurs. It could be something as simple as the warmth of the sun on your face, the roof over your head, or the loved ones waiting for you in your life. By taking a moment to recognize these gifts, we train our minds to see abundance rather than scarcity, to see opportunity rather than obstacles, and to see joy rather than pain. Gratitude also works as a shield, protecting you from the toxic thoughts that try to creep in. When you feel irritation or resentment rising, reflecting on what you are grateful for creates a pause, a moment of clarity. It interrupts the automatic cycle of negativity and replaces it with appreciation. You may not always be able to control what happens outside of you, but you can always control how you perceive it. Gratitude is the lens that brings clarity, the anchor that steadies your mind, and the light that illuminates even the darkest corners of your thoughts. Moreover, gratitude is not just about big things, it is about noticing the little things, the subtle miracles of life that often go unnoticed. The sound of birds in the morning, the aroma of fresh coffee, a smile from a stranger. These seemingly small moments carry immense power to uplift your spirit. When you start recognizing them every morning, your mind begins to naturally drift away from negativity and toxicity. It is a gentle reminder that life, despite its challenges, is filled with countless blessings waiting to be acknowledged. And there is a ripple effect. When you cultivate gratitude in the morning, it influences how you interact with others throughout the day. You become less reactive, more patient, and more compassionate. Your relationships improve because your mind is no longer preoccupied with grievances or comparison. Gratitude transforms not only your internal state, but also the world around you. So, my dear friends, let your mornings be an offering of thanks. Take a few minutes each day to consciously reflect on what you are grateful for. Write it down, speak it aloud, or simply hold it in your heart. Let gratitude be the first thought that awakens your mind, the gentle touch that clears away the cobwebs of negativity, and the beacon that guides you toward a day filled with clarity, peace, and joy. Because when you start with gratitude, the rest of the day follows naturally, and your mind, once weighed down by toxic thoughts, becomes a sanctuary of calm, positivity, and hope. Our inner dialogue, the words we speak to ourselves in our minds, is perhaps one of the most powerful forces shaping the quality of our lives. Yet, so often, it is also one of the most overlooked. From the moment we wake up, our minds begin to speak to us in a constant stream of commentary. I'm not ready for today. I'll never be able to do this. Why did I make that mistake? These words may seem harmless at first, just passing thoughts, but they shape our perception, influence our actions, and even determine our emotional state. If the dialogue in your mind is negative, toxic, or self-critical, it will inevitably guide you toward fear, doubt, and hesitation. But the remarkable truth is that you have the power to change this conversation. And in doing so, you transform your life. Imagine that your mind is like a mirror. Every thought you entertain, every word you whisper to yourself, leaves a reflection on that mirror. If the words are harsh, judgmental, or anxious, the reflection becomes distorted, and the world you perceive seems darker and more hostile than it actually is. But if you speak to yourself with kindness, encouragement, and patience, the mirror becomes clear, and the world appears brighter, calmer, and more inviting. Learning to control your inner dialogue is not about forcing positivity or ignoring challenges. It's about consciously guiding your thoughts toward growth, compassion, and resilience. Start by noticing the way you speak to yourself. Many of us do this unconsciously, repeating patterns of self-criticism that were learned over years, sometimes decades. Perhaps it was a teacher, a parent, or a peer who planted a seed of doubt in our minds long ago, and now it has grown into a persistent voice of negativity. But here's the good news: awareness is the first step toward change. When you recognize that a thought is self-critical or toxic, you create a space between yourself and the thought. You realize that this voice does not define you. It is simply a habit of thinking that can be transformed. The next step is to intentionally replace these harsh words with ones of encouragement and support. Speak to yourself as you would speak to a dear friend, patiently, lovingly, and with compassion. Instead of saying, "I can't handle," say, "I will do my best, and that is enough." Instead of saying, "I always fail," remind yourself, "Every mistake is a lesson, and I am learning." These are not empty affirmations. They are tools to rewire your mind, to shift the patterns of thinking that shape your experience of life. The practice of controlling your inner dialogue also requires patience. It is not a one-time effort, nor is it instantaneous. Like tending to a garden, it takes daily attention, consistency, and care. Each positive word, each compassionate thought is like planting a seed. Over time, these seeds grow into strong, resilient trees that bear fruits of confidence, clarity, and peace. And just as the weather does not control the growth of a tree, external events do not control your inner dialogue. Once you have cultivated this habit, you become the master of your mind, able to respond with calm, clarity, and wisdom rather than reacting with fear or anger. Finally, remember that your inner dialogue shapes not only your relationship with yourself, but also your relationship with the world. When your thoughts are kind, you act with kindness. When your thoughts are patient, your actions become patient. When your mind is free from self-criticism, your energy radiates outward, uplifting those around you. By controlling the words you speak to yourself, you influence every thought, action, and interaction of your day. So, my dear friends, I invite you to listen carefully to the voice inside your mind. Notice its tone, its words, and its impact on your life. And then, with conscious effort and love, guide that voice toward encouragement, kindness, and truth. Because the way you speak to yourself in silence shapes the way you live in the world. And a mind filled with supportive, nurturing dialogue is a mind capable of peace, resilience, and joy. Visualization is a simple yet profoundly powerful tool that can transform the way we experience our days. Yet so few of us truly understand its magic. Often we wake up and move through life passively, reacting to circumstances as they happen, without ever pausing to imagine the day we truly want to live. But the mind is a creative force. What we imagine, we begin to attract. What we visualize with clarity and intention, our actions naturally align to bring it into reality. And that is why taking a few minutes in the morning to consciously envision a positive day can change everything. Think of it like setting a compass before a journey. If you begin the day with no direction, your energy disperses, your focus wanes, and even simple tasks feel draining. But when you visualize your day intentionally, you set the tone, create a roadmap, and guide your mind toward what truly matters. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the day unfolding in the way you wish. See yourself approaching challenges with calmness, handling difficult conversations with patience, and moving through your responsibilities with focus and efficiency. Picture yourself feeling confident, joyful, and grateful in each interaction. That image, my friends, is not a fantasy, it is a rehearsal for reality. Your brain cannot always distinguish between vivid imagination and actual experience. By visualizing success, positivity, and calm, you are literally programming your mind to respond in ways that align with that vision. Visualization also acts as a shield against negativity. When the mind is cluttered with worries, doubts, or fears, it is easy to become reactive, defensive, or anxious. But when you spend a few minutes seeing the day unfold positively, you build a mental map that keeps you grounded. Even when unexpected challenges arise, your mind returns to that peaceful, intentional state. The act of visualizing does not eliminate problems, it equips you to navigate them with clarity, resilience, and grace. This practice is not about pretending that life is perfect. It is not about ignoring reality, denying difficulties. It is about starting from a place of empowerment rather than fear, a place of possibility rather than limitation. When you visualize your day, you are reminding yourself that you have the capacity to respond thoughtfully, to act deliberately, and to create the life you desire, even amid uncertainty. It is a practice of ownership over your mental and emotional state. Another subtle yet powerful aspect of visualization is its impact on your emotions. When you imagine a day where you act with patience, compassion, and courage, your body and mind respond as if it is already happening. Your heart rate slows, your breathing becomes calmer, and your nervous system prepares to approach the day with balance and focus. Visualization in this way aligns not only your mind but your entire being with the life you wish to live. And finally, visualization nurtures hope and optimism. In a world that often seems chaotic and overwhelming, starting the day with a clear mental image of how you want it to unfold is like planting a seed of light before stepping into the darkness. Even small moments, a positive conversation, a task completed with excellence, a gesture of kindness, become amplified because your mind is already tuned to notice and create opportunities for them. So, my dear friends, take a few quiet moments each morning to see your day clearly in your mind's eye. Envision how you wish to feel, how you wish to act, and the energy you wish to carry. Let this vision guide your thoughts, shape your decisions, and color every action with intention and purpose. Because when your mind knows the path, your life naturally follows, and a day that begins with clarity and hope becomes a day filled with joy, achievement, and peace. In today's world, we are constantly bombarded with information, messages, emails, notifications, social media updates, and the endless stream of news. From the moment we wake up, our minds are pulled in 100 different directions, and very often, the first thing we do in the morning is reach for our phones. We scroll, we check, we compare, and before we even realize it, our minds are filled with stress, distraction, and the opinions of others. This is one of the most subtle yet powerful ways in which toxic thoughts creep into our lives even before the day has truly begun. That is why limiting toxic inputs early in the morning is not just a suggestion, it is a necessity for a clear and peaceful mind. Think about it for a moment. When you wake up and immediately dive into messages or social media, you are handing over the reins of your mind to external influences. Every notification, every headline, every post carries its own energy. Some may be negative, some may induce envy, fear, or anger, and some may simply demand attention without adding any real value to your life. Your mind, still in its delicate morning state, absorbs all of this effortlessly, and before you know it, your thoughts are clouded, your focus is scattered, and the energy you woke up with has already been drained. It's like pouring water into a cup that is already full. The overflow spills into stress and distraction, leaving little room for clarity, peace, or purpose. Limiting these inputs doesn't mean ignoring the world or becoming disconnected. It simply means choosing the right time and the right way to engage with external information. By giving yourself the gift of a few quiet, undisturbed moments in the morning, you allow your mind to awaken naturally, free from external pressures and distractions. You create space to set your intentions, to breathe deeply, to focus on gratitude, and to visualize the day ahead. These moments of calm are like sunlight that nourishes a garden before the weeds have had a chance to grow. They give your mind the clarity and strength to handle the challenges and interactions that will inevitably arise later in the day. Moreover, limiting toxic inputs early in the morning is an act of self-respect. It is a declaration to yourself that your mind matters, that your peace matters, and that the quality of your day is in your hands. When you prioritize quiet, reflection, and intention, you are no longer at the mercy of external noise. You regain control over your thoughts, your emotions, and ultimately, your life. This is a subtle but profound shift from reacting to the world to consciously creating your experience of it. And there is a ripple effect. When you start the day without unnecessary noise, your decisions, conversations, and actions become more thoughtful. You respond rather than react. You act from clarity rather than impulse. You notice solutions instead of problems, opportunities instead of obstacles, and joy instead of frustration. The discipline of limiting toxic inputs is not just a morning habit, it is a practice of mindfulness that sets the tone for how you navigate the entire day. So, my dear friends, I encourage you to guard the first moments of your morning fiercely. Resist the urge to immediately check your phone or consume information that does not serve your mind. Give yourself space to awaken, reflect, and set the tone of your day with clarity and intention. By protecting your mind from toxic inputs early, you are planting seeds of peace, focus, and resilience that will grow and flourish throughout your day, guiding you toward a life that is intentional, joyful, and deeply fulfilling. Our bodies and minds are intimately connected. More than most of us realize, often we think that clearing our mind or finding mental clarity is purely a mental exercise, something that happens in meditation or reflection alone. But the truth is, movement is a profound way of freeing the mind and releasing tension that words alone cannot touch. When we move through stretching, yoga, walking, or any form of physical activity, we are not just exercising our muscles, we are awakening our energy, releasing stagnant thoughts, and preparing our mind for the challenges of the day. Think about it like a river that has been still overnight. In the morning, the water is calm, but if it remains stagnant, it can become murky and unhealthy. Movement, even gentle movement, sets that water flowing again. Similarly, physical activity in the morning sends a signal to your brain that the day is beginning, that your body is alive, and that your mind can operate with clarity and focus. Every stretch, every breath, every step is like stirring the water of your mind, washing away the fog, and creating space for calm, creativity, and energy to flow. Physical movement also has a subtle but powerful effect on our emotions. When we are inactive, thoughts can get stuck in loops of worry, doubt, or fear. The mind, like a restless child, becomes easily agitated. But when we engage in movement, our nervous system is stimulated in a balanced way and stress hormones begin to decrease. This natural release of tension brings about a sense of calm, balance, and readiness. The simple act of moving your body becomes a form of meditation in motion, clearing mental clutter and preparing you to face the day with resilience and focus. Moreover, movement teaches us an important lesson about rhythm and flow. Life is full of ups and downs, challenges and successes, moments of stress and moments of joy. By learning to move our bodies intentionally, we remind ourselves that energy is meant to flow, not stagnate. When your mind is stuck in a cycle of toxic thoughts or worry, physical movement creates momentum, pushing stagnant energy out and allowing new, positive energy to enter. It is a tangible way to reset both body and mind. Even a short walk outside, feeling the morning air, observing the sky, or noticing the sounds around you can dramatically shift your mental state. It reconnects you to the world in a gentle, grounding way and reminds you that life is larger than any single worry or negative thought. By moving your body first thing in the morning, you are signaling to yourself that you are ready, that you are present, and that you are capable of meeting the day with strength and clarity. And finally, The connection between movement and mind is a lifelong lesson in self-care. When we take the time to move, we show ourselves respect and attention. We honor the vessel through which we experience the world, and in doing so, we nurture the mind that lives within it. Every stretch, every breath, every step is a reminder that clarity, energy, and positivity are not accidental. They are cultivated, nurtured, and protected. So, my dear friends, do not underestimate the power of moving your body to free your mind. Begin each morning with a gesture of motion, whether gentle or vigorous, and feel the stagnant energy of the mind dissolve. Watch as mental fog lifts, creativity awakens, and a sense of calm purpose fills your being. Movement is not just a physical act, it is a gift to your mind, a tool for clarity, and a foundation for a day lived with focus, balance, and joy.